Welcome back to the channel, everyone, brothers and sisters in Christ. My name is Patrick, End Time Watchman. Sorry it's been a while since I've done a video. I've been watching every single day. I've been watching what UN is doing. I've been watching Israel, the earthquakes, you name it. Trust me, I've been watching. I've been sharing stuff on my community posts. I am just so confident in the date of trumpets through atonement that I just don't feel like there's, to me, not much more. I'm watching every day and I'm watching the signs, but as far as finding the date of the rapture, to me, all signs point that we are going home very soon. No, thus saith the Lord. Just me, in my spirit, I feel like it's going to be at any moment. So that's why I haven't done a video, but I've still been posting stuff in my community, letting, me, very important prophecies being fulfilled, like them wanting Israel to part their land. Obviously, God is going to judge them harshly. That's his land, and they don't have the right to divide it. So we see the writing on the wall, and we see the Psalm 83 war is going to start any moment. And you see all the earthquakes and the volcanoes. Super volcanoes are about ready to erupt. We had record rain in North Carolina, once in a 1,000-year storm. I mean, there's no denying that we are living in the last of the last days. All right, so be encouraged by that if you're a believer. If you're a non-believer, I want to get into this verse. Romans chapter 5, verse 8 through 9. But God commendeth his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Much more than being now justified by his blood. It's not what we do. It's by what he already did on the cross. We shall be saved from wrath through him. So believe on his death, burial, and resurrection, and you will be saved. All right, call out for him. Trust in that blood that he shed, that perfect blood he shed on the cross, and you will be saved. All right, so what I want to get into today. All right, the Star of Jacob is supposed to appear September 27th, I believe, in the evening, obviously. And what's fascinating about that, oops, wrong one. I'm going to the wrong thing here. Sorry, guys. All right, September 27th turning to the 28th, because Israel is 7 hours ahead of where I'm at in Eastern Standard Time. That is Elul 25. Now, why is that significant that the Star of Jacob would appear on this night? Well, if you go to Nehemiah 6:15, so the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Elul, and it took 52 days. All right, so the wall was finished on Elul 25, the same day this year that the Star of Jacob is going to appear in the sky. Why is that significant? Well, in order to figure that out, you have to go to the book of Daniel. All right, we got 2 verses here we have to read. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks. And 62 weeks, that's 62 weeks, so 69 weeks in total, weeks of years in total. The street shall be built again in the wall, even in troublesome times. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people, the prince that shall come, shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. All right, so at the bottom of this one, the wall should be rebuilt. All right, the decree for the wall to be rebuilt was done by Artaxerxes, and you can read that here in Nehemiah 2:1. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, that's the first month, and if it just says the month, always assume it's the first day of that month, unless it specifies, like Esther, the 23rd day of Sivan. Well, if it just said the month of Sivan, it's always the first day. All right. So it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes, the king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. And if you keep reading, Artaxerxes gives Nehemiah the okay and the decree to go back to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall. And that was either in 445 or 444 BC, okay? And the wall was finished, we can read that, we already read it, on the 25th day of Elul, which we're in the month of Elul now, The 25th day will be September 27th, September 28th, when the Star of Jacob appears, but it took him 52 days to build the wall. So I did a little timeline here, which is really interesting. So if you go from Elul 25 and you minus the 25 days, right, to get to Elul 1, that leaves you 27 days out of the 52. So you minus 27 days from Elul 1, you come to Av 3. And what's interesting about that is the Dead Sea Scrolls, Av 3 is actually the Feast of Wine, not Av 9, which that's whatever. It's a difference of 5 or 6 days, depending, with time change. But it's really interesting that on Av 3 is when he began to build the wall. So that would be on the Feast of Wine, and it ended on Elul 25. But this also started the 60, well, I call it the 70-week prophecy of Daniel, even though we're waiting on that last week of years, that last, week of 7 years called the tribulation, and it's going to be split 3.5 years and 3.5 years, the latter part being the Great Tribulation, that last 3.5 years. But 69 weeks have already came and passed, and we've had this gap called the church age that we're now in, that we're coming to the close of. So the beginning of it begin the 70 weeks of Daniel, but now we're at the very end of it, coming up on Elul 25 when the wall was rebuilt, and now we have the Star of Jacob appearing, almost signaling that last 7-year period. So pretty amazing. And if you go from, remember, it started on Nisan 1 to Av 3, so 30-day months, so it'd be 5 months plus 3 days, is exactly 153 days. That's really fascinating, because in John, in John 21:11, Simon Peter went up and drew the net to land the full of great fishes, and 153 fish. And for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. So I believe that Nehemiah getting the decree to go back to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall, and when they hauled in the 153 fish, I think that put a pause on the 70th week of Daniel. All right. So at this moment, the 69 weeks of the 70 weeks were finished. There's going to be a pause, which is called the church age. And now we're coming up on the last 7-year period of humanity. All right. And then we're going to go into millennium. Jesus Christ is going to come down with all of us that went up, and we're going to come down and we're going to rule and reign with him on the earth for 1,000 years. But I thought it was interesting that the timeline from Nisan 1 to Ab 3, when he began to build the wall, is 153 days, and then they just happened to catch 153 fish, which to me, on this date, which I believe was Nisan 27, put an end to the Daniel prophecy. All right, that put a pause on it. But now we have the Star of Jacob appearing on Elul 25 when the wall was finished, and I think that's restarting the countdown, and I believe probably on trumpets or atonement that Daniel's 70th week is going to occur. So pretty amazing stuff. God has definitely given us all the signs in the sky. It's just so much going on. We see the Psalm 83 war, the record rainfall in North Carolina, the earthquakes, super volcanoes. The ground is lifting in Italy on Campi Flegrei, the one I always talk about. The ground is just continuing to lift, and the magma is building. So that thing is ready to go. I believe it could be the rapture that sets it off. I think that's a very plausible thing, and there's so much going on. Maybe the big earthquake in California everyone's looking forward to, I think that might even occur on the day of the rapture. I'm not sure if it'll occur maybe right before or right after the rapture. So you definitely don't want to be here when all this goes down. Make sure that if you're not saved, that you accept that free gift of salvation that Jesus Christ already paid for on the cross by shedding his perfect blood to make atonement for your sin. All you have to do is accept and believe in his death, burial, and resurrection and you will be saved. All right, guys. Exciting times as a believer. We are living in the last of the last days. God bless you guys, and if I don't see you, I'll see you in the clouds.